Welcome back to day 105 of our chess journey to 1500 ELO on chess.com. So today I've been out and about and been meeting some friends I haven't met in a few years and had the best beef of my life probably, and all the while apparently yesterday's video has been doing incredibly well. It's broken all metrics on this channel and that's been awesome to see. Let's see how this video does, or rather how the game goes, and whether we're able to get a win today and get closer to our goal of 1500. We're playing against Snapoli 30 from the US. Snapoli, CNA, Knapoli, I don't know. We get a Slav defense, modern line. Let's have a look here. Typically speaking, we've found out e3 tends to be a good move in the Slav before moving the bishop. I guess generally speaking it's got to be got to do rather with this pawn here, because in some lines I suspect it might be possible to lose the pawn here. Well, our opponent here offers a draw. Well, I don't think I'll go on ahead and accept this draw. We want to get a game going. I think we'll go on ahead and play this quiet variation here, which it's apparently called. I guess maybe coming out here was an option in this move or order, but honestly I have not quite had a look at this yet. I will when I get the time, but I have not quite gotten there yet. So, well, typically speaking, we could just look for a normal configuration here or setup. Apparently we keep on transposing. This is apparently the Slav defense, modern quiet pin defense, which I guess makes sense. Our knight is pinned after all. What happens here? Well, if this is played, I guess we're still pinned, but I think this still makes sense to play. We could have h3 here as well. I think I prefer this. And then we can play this, or defend the pawn maybe. We'll have to see. We could always take as well if needs be. But honestly, I still expect this pawn here to be lost if our opponent takes, because it will be difficult to hold on to it at least. So what else is there? I guess our opponent here, well, they play this. This is still a move. We can see this and this. Can we hold onto, or rather, my question here is, can we take this pawn? Well, I'm honestly realizing here we might have this kind of a move. Looking for this. And if the queen comes out, maybe this, and if takes, we open up the rook, and otherwise our opponent drops back, and I think I like our position. Let's come out and see what Knapoli, Snapoli, CNAPoli 30 from the US does here. Now this is no longer a move either. Didn't quite consider it up to this point, but those moves tend to be somewhat annoying. The queen comes out. This might be a move. Doesn't quite convince me though. However, this looks decent. Defending the knight. Developing our piece here. Even holding this, although I guess if this is played, this still does look quite good. We might not have to take with the knight. We could castle as well. Or we could still play this. If we play this and this is played, this still seems decent. But honestly, I think castling takes priority over playing h3. Now this bishop is undefended. The pin might become slightly more annoying, but well, it doesn't quite seem that awkward if we get our knight onto d2. Because then we do have our knight here defending this. This, and we have this. And this doesn't hang because the bishop is still there. We don't want this because, well, we don't want to break apart our pawns. c5. Okay. That's a good move, I think. I guess our opponent wants this, and here we can't take because of this. So let's say we come out here. That's not ideal. And how about this? It doesn't work. This and this. This and this. What happens here then? I guess our opponent might be able to force us to have an isolated pawn. I don't quite want to play with an isolated pawn though. So maybe taking first. And this doesn't work because of this, so takes. We might have takes. I think we'll start out like this, so we don't have to play with an isolated pawn. Still, this bishop is undefended. So our knight here is slightly annoying, but it's got to do its job still. Now I think this move looks decent, although it does not defend this knight. So maybe coming here instead, defending this. Does this threaten a capture? I think it does. Let's say this is played. Takes. But there is takes on our queen and we don't quite win material. So maybe then we'll go on ahead and play here instead because we don't have the chance of winning material. Our opponent might castle. This bishop isn't doing a whole lot because this is defended. h3 still looks decent. This bishop needs a home square. this, and I think we'd have to take like this because we want to keep our defense here, but we want to be able to retake with the bishop because, well, if this is played and this is played, we would have to play with double isolated pawns, which is not ideal. This knight, well, it could jump in. I don't think it's a threat. Here I think we could take. Well, I think we could also just play this. No, that doesn't work because... No, it does work because we can just take with our dark square bishop. If we take with the knight there, we lose this. Well, if castles... Maybe h3. Could take, but that's going to help our opponent get the piece into the game. Or maybe not. I think the knight here doesn't do a whole lot. But first, maybe just kicking this bishop back. And if our opponent takes, I think we're quite happy. I expect to see this. Would like to move this bishop here or force our opponent to move it. So we can get this and force a horrible pawn structure. Doesn't seem likely though. So we won't be playing hope chess anytime soon. Still, this knight can't move. Our bishop needs a square, but here our opponent blocks. Our opponent, our queen rather, and here we are blocked by our own knight. Now, is this a move? There is always a chance of g4 being decent. I don't quite see a follow-up here though. We want this to get out. Maybe just this, and let's have a look. This can be played. And I guess we can get onto this diagonal, which would be an improvement. I don't see a whole lot of alternatives because our pieces are kind of tied down here. Well, we could play this, which might also work. Yeah, that might even be better, because if we get this move, I think we're in a decent spot. Although this might still be a move. I don't see anything concrete here though. Or do I? No, I don't quite do so. Because if we jump in here, our opponent might take here first, and that's no good. So this or this. Maybe just trading down first is good. Still, I was looking at this, but I didn't quite feel convinced. So we will settle for this and see what we do from here. Now this is unexpected. Might be a mistake, but might also be a great move by our opponent. This might become a weakness or a strength. So here, maybe b3 to prepare this. This pawn might be a weakness in some cases. I don't quite want to play this. If our opponent takes, I think we just take like this, and we have activated our knight, and we should be in a good spot, I think. So let's play this somewhat quickly. And see what we do from here. So we're playing a queenless kind of middle game here, but we've got quite a few pieces in the game. Our a-pawn might become a target. We'll have to see. Maybe getting a knight onto the b file here, maybe defending the pawn from ahead. Might be a good idea if we're able to do so. Hoping the sounds here are not that loud for you. Apparently, I guess a lot of students are walking by, which can be quite the loud happening rather. This, if takes, we take here. If our opponent goes back, the bishop looks trapped, or does it? No, it does not, because there if takes, our opponent takes. We can't go here because this, and this. So this is still slightly tricky here. It's not necessarily ideal. This, and I guess we would kind of pin ourselves. So I'm not quite happy here, but if we're able to get our pieces out, this will be a weakness. This and this. Could go here. We can't go here because of the knights. This pin here is annoying though. It's difficult to configure our pieces here in a decent way without playing this, because the pin seems, well, it kind of breaks our coordination, to say the least. So g4 is a concession here, but it's going to allow us, I think, to get a much better position than if we did not play the move, of course. Now getting the bishop out seems good. We might threaten to take. Either way, there is merit here in playing this move. I just want to have a quick look at how this bishop here can't do a whole lot. Here we just take. Here, if this is played, our opponent can't quite take still. So I think we're allowed here to grab this diagonal, which might in turn allow us to play this. Now our rook is defended. So this, and this. And we should be in a good spot. The knight here could jump in at an opportune moment. If it does, however, pawns like this will never be a good thing for our opponent. This knight might likely move now. I guess maybe like this and jumping in here or here. Looks to be quite decent. This, and well, the jumps are not that numerous, at least there aren't as many good jumps. So let's say this is played, the rooks are connected, the knight gets out, this is defended, then this is my intended move. And well, this doesn't work, so this is no good. Our opponent could take. I don't think that's good. Gives us the bishop here. Could come back here. Then we could keep on kicking the bishop with tempo. The knight does come out. I don't think we'll have to spend a lot of time. Let's just play quick and solidly. Now this is controlled by us. There is still this maneuver, which will be taken away once we get b4. b4 will kind of kill off the dark square bishop here on this side, and will also prevent a lot of pawn mobility. So I'm looking at some alternatives here. I don't quite want to take. Was looking at if we had anything here, but there is not really a whole lot. So we can't easily jump into the position. Well, our opponent takes here, which is slightly unexpected. We're forced to take. Now what is the intended response? Honestly, I am hoping to get this. This might be played even, but if we get this diagonal and this diagonal, I think we're in a good spot. Okay, so we see this move. Is this good though? Do we not just go here and force the bishop back? Let's have a quick look. Bishop can't go here or here. If takes, we just take, which should be great. So if we get the rook out here for free, getting onto what's going to be an open file soon. Well, if this is played, we have this. The knight can jump in. But there we take, and the pawns are bad. And we have the open file and great diagonals, crisscross, applesauce. So maybe the bishop just comes back, but then we've just been given a free move, which looks promising to me. So I don't quite see a way here of not gaining an advantage here. Worst case, we win a move. Best case, our opponent's pawn structure might get further compromised, which should be fantastic. This pawn is quite well defended. Still, I want to get b4 in at some point. After this, probably, to prevent the pawns from rolling. Takes, well, this is playable. Is it good? I didn't quite consider the bishop might, or the pawn might take rather. Let me have a look here. Well, if this is played, this knight is dominated, can't go forwards. This pawn is slightly awkward, but it's not the end of the world. Here we could maybe just switch our focus onto the d-file. Our bishop might not have the best position there, but still I think this looks good. This pawn here on e4 could easily become a target, but the knight takes, and here I think this does very little for our opponent. Let's have a quick look. The knight can come here and here, where it is lost. This, and we come up and defend ourselves. If it goes back, well, there is nothing there. Here, and we take. If it comes here, well, this is no threat. It hits this, I guess, but this is something we want to move. So that's not bad either. Let's just take. I don't see a convincing counter argument. This will hold the knight here for the time being, but it doesn't convince me. Now we get this. And honestly, I don't see a whole lot for our opponent. This, and we have this. If this is played, guess we come down here and hit the stuff. You might even have this immediate move, which I might even like better. No, I don't, because then we can get contested on the c-file. So let's come in here first. Looks decent. This might have been a move as well, but this is a more immediate threat, and I think we want the c-file. This. And I don't see any follow-up. As I mentioned, if this is played and our rook is hit, well, then we go here and our opponent's got 2 hanging pawns. And I don't see why that's not good for us. Luckily, this pawn can't easily be targeted by a knight. So we only need our bishop defending it from the rook. This is played. And here, I guess we just jump in as we planned to. Now if this is played, there might be an argument for taking and then taking here. Still wins a pawn. But then this looks annoying, so maybe not. This is an annoying fork if it's playable. So let's have a look here. If this is played and we get this, maybe we're forced to play this. That's not ideal though. Maybe instead we could go here first. Which might be slightly better. Still, it doesn't convince me, but there is no fork at least. This. If this is played and we get this, I don't see an in-between move. This rook is moved. Is there a difference? Well, there is no pressure here. Now, maybe we have this. But then takes, and I think our opponent grabs the initiative. Takes. There is the issue of time as well. Not ideal. I think maybe this might be our best idea. Or this. Still, I think we have to take, which I didn't want to do, but it seems like it might be forced. At least to some degree. Maybe this. Yeah, it's not ideal at all, but a bishop has to move. It's just a matter of which one. Let's come out here. It's not an easy decision. Now this, and there is this. So well, if this is played, does this just lose stuff? It might. Well, maybe this and this. And might be difficult for our opponent to take because this is a checkmate. So that might be our saving grace. At least I think so. Still, the pawn structure is quite bad. This is played, but as I mentioned, this should work. Yeah, it should work. Let's take. The checkmate threat has to be dealt with. This can't be moved because of the bishop. So this pawn, or this pawn probably. That pawn is moved. But now this. And if this is played, we take, and we have this threat again. Yeah, this seems decent. Don't know if we should have started out with this move. Maybe. Difficult to evaluate though. This should still be decent, I think. This, and what happens here? It gets blocked. So maybe it takes and takes, forcing a move from our opponent. Yeah, let's take. And this, and I guess we pick up this pawn maybe. This might be good. This is picked up. We can defend our pawn like this. Seems decent at least. Here, if this is played, we defend. And we are up a couple of pawns, which should help us in the long term. Would like to win this pawn, if we get the chance to. This knight can't come here, can't come here or here, so it's kind of semi-cut off. It could go here though, after which it gets slightly dominated by the bishop. We have to come up here. Well, this is played, but now we just go here as I mentioned, and our pawn is defended. Maybe a rook here, playing like this and applying pressure. Seems like a decent configuration. We might play like this and maybe get our bishop here. Seems decent as well. But this kind of dominates the knight, which I think I prefer. But there is this and this. And then we can't defend the pawn, so maybe here instead. And if this is played, we push. Yeah, that might be better. So we don't lose a pawn. Knight here might be a move now though, because we don't cover the square. But well, it is how it is. We don't get everything. Now we can push. Let's just do so. We have half a minute. This is not the position in which we want to waste time. Okay, the knight comes here. Maybe this now, and the knight does not have a lot of mobility. If this is played, I think we push. And well, we could threaten a promotion, defended and backed up by this. This is a forking square, importantly. If the knight goes here, for example, If this is played, I think we go here. But the king is brought in. This doesn't win a pawn. Honestly, I think we'll push here. Takes, takes, and this becomes a threat. What happens here? I guess we just drop back. Or we could go here as well, controlling this. But this is what we get. If the king comes up, we stay in the diagonal to support the promotion. Was considering this, but I didn't quite feel convinced. Now the king does not have a lot of mobility. Let's push. If we get this and get a check, we can promote. This might be played. In which case, I guess this is our move. Or it could be our move. But could this be a move? I think maybe this. Don't have a lot of time to think about it. It's a bit difficult, but we'll see what we can get done. Now the king comes. I think we have this. If takes, we just win a lot of stuff, and this position should be easy to win. Or to convert at least. We gave up the pawn there for, well, all of our opponent's pawns. The knight can't ever move here. And we just get to gobble up all the pawns. If the king comes here, we skewer. Which should be great. Okay, so this is played. Well, we'll just go pawn grabbing. Up 4 pawns. This should be a pretty decent conversion, at least I'm hoping so. Pushing here, getting the king up. All seems good. This is played. Guess we just repin. Let's come up with the king ever so slightly. We hold our pawn and prepare this. And all our stuff is protected. Was looking at this, but well, it doesn't quite work, unfortunately. So I guess we just keep on pushing. There is no threat from this rook as far as I'm aware. Let's pin. It seems to be the name of the game here. Pin, pin, pin. We can come up and keep pushing our pawn. King can't come closer here. If takes, this doesn't work. So while our game here is a lot easier to play than our opponent's game. This should lose. Looks like a free knight to me. Yeah, there is no way of winning this tactically for our opponent, I think. The king can't threaten anything, so we can just take afterwards, which should be good. The rook can't help. Can't quite get in. Let's take. Up 7 points. This should be decent. We get a skewer, or well, a pin, or well, I guess that's called a skewer. And we get a checkmate. Perfect. Thanks for the game. Well played to our opponent. Let's have a look at the game review. Feeling quite happy with today's game, but still Stockfish might be... Yeah, Stockfish has some improvements for us. We played with 86.2 and our opponent played with 76.4. Got a 2100 game rating, our opponent got 1800, so this was a high rated game, or a high performance game. We had a miss and a mistake. We'll have a look at those during the game review here. Well, this still brings us up to 11 points away from our goal, which is our peak. We seem to be peaking about every day now, which is awesome. This was all good. No inaccuracies. We did have a slightly larger advantage here, but the difference is not that large. This was bad though. I didn't see bishop to c3. Would have been annoying because this, and well, we would have lost an exchange. So instead of g4, apparently a4 was good. I guess clamping down on this and defending our a pawn. Bishop to b2 worked. And then takes. What did I miss? Oh, here we had g4. But why does this not lose material? I guess it does lose a pawn. But our opponent is left with this pawn structure, which is quite horrendous. Definitely bad for our opponent here. I didn't see this. Sacrificing a pawn for a positional advantage. Instead we went for this, which was apparently bad because of a tactic, which neither of us spotted. Still, this was good. All good. This was good. Or this was quite bad. Apparently here we should have taken. But what do we play against this? What did I miss? Mate in 1. Well, I missed worse, but definitely should have brought into consideration this being a free pawn. And well, here we just get what we want because our opponent can't hit us because of the back rank checkmate threat. This was a blunder though. Apparently our opponent should have went here, which is not that easy to spot. I guess our opponent blocks this, but what happens here? Oh, I guess just takes, which doesn't work. Maybe this, but then our opponent gets in. And then stuff seems to start collapsing unless this is played, and well, either way, this didn't quite happen. We both missed some ideas here. And from this point on, I think we had a pretty decent position. All the moves were decent. B or C6 was decent apparently, but as I mentioned, it felt a bit too loose, so I played a bit safer. This was good. From this point on, it's just a matter of conversion, especially here because we got the knight. Well, this was a checkmate, and now guys, we're up to 1489. We're getting there. Maybe 2 games left, we'll have to see. But we are getting closer day by day. Thanks to our opponent today, CNA Poly 30 from the US. Thanks for watching, guys. This has been our game for today, and I hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye bye.